Okay, so what does this have to do with trust? If you have an inability to trust people, it's probably because you haven't forgiven someone in the past who violated your trust. Or you don't have trust and faith and love for yourself that you can handle whatever happens. You keep people at arm's length and keep this wall up because you're afraid that you don't know what you're going to be able to do if something goes wrong. Well, what if they hurt me? Well, what if they hurt you? You deal with it and you move on. Because I can tell you, here's something that's for certain. It's worse to go through your life keeping everybody at arm's length than to have true and loving and meaning and open relationships and maybe have one or two people somewhere over the course of your life violate your trust and let you down. Because the thing that you're trying to avoid is actually putting you in a prison. It's like if you're terrified of getting struck by lightning, so you never go outside ever. Well, for what though? I mean, it's like, can you go outside on sunny days even? It's like, oh no, I can't, right? What is it that you're afraid of happening? Like, I can tell you something that happened with me. If you've been following my blog at all, blog.peacelovemoney.com, although I syndicate it like a million places. I'm on Facebook, WordPress, Tumblr, you can find me anywhere. Google me, B. Dave Walters. I have a situation that I've been dealing with that's ongoing, and I'm actually kind of okay with it now because I have to say I looked ahead to the absolute 100% worst case scenario, and I can see that I can accept it. That in some ways it actually might be preferable. So as soon as I realize that when the absolute worst thing that can possibly happen happens and it's still kind of okay, then what's to worry about? What's to stress about, right? So let's say look at this in a relationship. A lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to get too close because I don't want to get hurt. I hate to say this, but that's really kind of dumb. I'm sorry, it's kind of dumb. If you're like, oh, I don't want to get in the ocean because I might get salt water in my eye. Oh, well, so maybe you won't though. Maybe you won't though. And isn't that worth it? Isn't it worth it to find that person that completes you and makes your soul sing and actually, can help you attain new and greater heights? And I know I've said in the past that you don't have to have a relationship, and you don't. And that you actually shouldn't look for another person to complete you, even though I just said they would, and you shouldn't. But the right relationship with the right person makes everything you want in this life more likely and easier to do. And if you have not forgiven whatever's happened in the past, including mistakes that you yourself made, you got to forgive you too. You got to start with you. You might think, oh, I deserve to be punished for whatever I did. Well, you know what? You probably didn't. Because here's the thing. The law of attraction is one of 7 laws. One of 7 universal laws. I wrote a whole book about this, which you can also find on peacelovemoney.com. And one of the 7 laws of the universe is the law of cause and effect. But the point behind the law of cause and effect is there is no law of cause and effect. Or at least, that's not accurate. It's the fact that every cause is an effect and every effect is a cause. Remember I said before, if you walk up and punch me in the face, and I'm like, what'd you just punch me in the face for? It was wrong of you to do. And then you say, somebody's holding my mom at gunpoint and said that if I didn't come over here and punch you in the face, that they'd kill my mom. Well, now you're a victim. And now the person holding the gun's the bad person, right? So then we go over there to them. And they say, well, the reason why I did it is because somebody said they were going to burn my house to the ground and my family would be homeless if I didn't come here and hold this gun to this woman's head. I mean, I'm not going to hurt her, though. I had to do it. Well, now that person's a victim, right? Okay, so now everybody's off the hook. So then we go over and we find the person who threatened to burn the house down. And they say, I wasn't going to ever burn the house down. I just needed the 3 of you to be here so that I could tell you you all won $1 million, right? I mean, I know it's kind of an out there example, but do you get what I'm saying? That when you understand everybody's true motives, especially in the entire microcosm of things, this is why, in some of the spiritual stuff, I've made the comment again and again that I don't really think God cares if we do this or that. I mean, I think there is a concept of sin, but it really more injures and hurts us than it offends God. Because God can see everything. He can see everything, including the things you couldn't see. What was going on in your mind? What was going on in your heart? What was going on in your environment? What was going on around you? What were you taught? What have you believed? What were you programmed with that might not have been an error? Or even if somebody might do something to you that they intended maliciously, that they intended to hurt you, but somehow puts you in a better position in the long run. Maybe somebody tells a flat out lie about you at work, and because of that you lose your job. But because you lose that job, you're spurred into action to create your own job, create your own business, and you follow your dream and actually end up happier than ever before. So even though this person acted with genuine maliciousness, even then, you've actually turned out better because of it, right? So my thing is, what I do with people is everybody gets trust from me, default, until they show me that they can't. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Now, does this mean that I would give everybody my social security number and let them babysit my child? No. No. But for the most part, if you tell me something, I'm going to believe you until you let me know that I got cause not to believe you. It's just my worldview. Why not? What's the point of being quote-unquote skeptical, right? I can tell you, you skeptics out there. Most of the skeptics I know have been burned in the past and kind of became know-it-alls, and that's kind of their worldview, and that's cool if that's your worldview. It is. But analyze where that's coming from. Now, am I saying that you should believe everybody that says, you know, I'll sell you the Golden Gate Bridge for $10? No. But if somebody has no cause to lie to you, if they have no motive to lie to you, then why assume that they're lying? Why assume that the world is out to get you, right? Remember that positive paranoia we've talked about sometimes? This concept of trust has to start from the inside and the outside. There's two things that you got to trust in this world. You got to trust you, and you got to trust the universe. You got to trust that you can handle whatever comes your way, and you got to trust that the universe has your back, or God has your back, or whoever you conceive the divine to be has your back and is on your side. You just have to adopt the belief that life is good, and the world is good, and the universe is good, because I can tell you it's good. It is. It's good. Because otherwise, you will create a prison for yourself. You will create these walls and boundaries that will dictate and define the parameters of your existence, and the parameter of your excitement, and the parameter of the good things that can come to you. And that's not a very nice place to be, because I bet you know some people that are like that. I bet you know some people who were hurt once, or twice, or 10 times. And here's the thing, here's something else. If you're like, well, so many people have hurt me in the past. Two things. One, what do all those people have in common? What's the one thing they all have in common? You. So look at you. Look at what you've been doing. Look at what you've been saying. Look at what you've been believing. And look at who you've been choosing to spend your time and invest yourself with. That's the first thing, right? The second thing, if 10 people hurt you, it does not mean the 11th person's going to hurt you. This is where bitterness sets in, right? It's just you get this default assumption that because things have gone wrong in the past, then by extension they must go wrong in the future. But that's not true. This is how most people live. Most people don't live going towards the future. Most people actually are taking the past and putting it out in front of them and making it the future. You say, well, it was like this yesterday, so by extension it will be like this tomorrow, but that's not true. That's not true, okay? Things change when you change. It's like Tony Robbins says, when you make a decision, a real decision, you take new action. If you don't take new action, you haven't made a real decision, okay? So how can you expect to have love in your life? How can you expect to have excitement in your life? How can you expect to have fulfillment in your life when you don't give people a chance to be their authentic selves and experience your authentic self, right? If you don't trust them to be there and be who they say they will be and do what they say they were going to do, and forgive them when they fall short. Now, this doesn't mean that you should surround yourself with useless people. You shouldn't. In fact, in my coaching, peacelovemoney.com, one of the first things we do is kind of go through a friend inventory of the relationships that you can and cannot maintain, and who is and is not helping you. And there are people that you just can't be around anymore because they're pulling you down. But the fact